Hi, I'm Alan, and I'm one of the instructors here at We Can Code It.
Hi, I'm Kendra, and I'm the admissions representative for the Columbus campus at We Can Code It.
Hi, I'm Lauren, and I'm the Student Success Program Manager.
Hi, I'm Lacey Nichols, and I am the Career Services Student Success Coach here at We Can Code It.
We're going to have you join us where we're going to teach you how to build web pages with
HTML,
CSS,
and JavaScript.
As we start building out our app today, again, we are in CodePen. This video is going to take a look at how to use CSS Shapes, a fun and easy way to control our text in a web application.
So we'll save this as our CSS Shapes demo here.
So let's wrap all of our HTML content in a div container.
Yeah, so we'll just do an ID here since it will be the only div that we have.
And we are going to keep our HTML simple today with just a header, main element, and a footer.
Yeah, and inside of our header, we'll throw an H1. We'll put a little title on here. And we're going to be dealing with grapes today, Lacey.
I love grapes.
It'll give us a good image that we can play with some text around. And that's it for our header. And again, for you folks at home, you can put more in here as you get comfortable, but we're going to keep this one really simple. So we'll have a couple of pieces of content inside of our main, just an image, and we'll come back later and grab an image. So I'll just put some links in here that we'll fill in. So look at the double quotes there for your image source, and we'll make a paragraph. So we'll open this paragraph tag and close it. We'll come back and fill it in later as well. I think that's going to be it, Lacey, for our main.
Okay.
Let's double check that.
And then we'll get moving on to the footer here.
Sounds good. We'll close this off.
And so for our footer, we'll create a simple copyright. And that'll be good enough for now.
Yeah, notice the ampersand there. So when we put that in front of our text, that'll put the little copyright symbol. So that's a pretty nifty little trick that we can do. And it's good to have this as a small element. And that is it. So now we're going to just close off the rest of our HTML document here. We'll close our footer. And we'll come on over here and we'll close off our div. So let's go ahead and grab an image. I already have one waiting for us here. And again, since we're working in CodePen, we always reference the image address. So we'll just right-click on that image, copy that image address, and we'll paste it in there. So that brings over our image. Now check this out, Lacey. A fun website that we like to use for our text. This is Hipster Ipsum.
Okay, Hipster Ipsum.
And it just generates some fun text for us there. So you could basically just go out and Google Hipster Ipsum, and it will come up with the text that we can utilize there. So you can post or paste a sample snippet of text for your application, just to give us some sort of content that we can use. So we're going to scroll slowly through this. That is it for our HTML. As always, you users at home can choose to build more content in there once you get comfortable. But the purpose of this you could imagine this being one small feature on your website. We are just going to deal with a few pieces of potentially a larger page.
And now it's time to start styling this content with our CSS. And if we could, let's import a better font.
And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and create an import here. And if you have fonts that aren't built into CSS, we can reference those. And one of our favorite references is Google Fonts. And we're going to import a nice font here that will give us some good readability on our page, and that's Lato. And you don't have to memorize this code that we just typed in there. We can actually go out to Google and we can search for Google Fonts, and it will be the first link that pops up for us here. And you can choose to scroll through their API and pick what you would like. And for example, if we liked Roboto, we could expand that here and it will come up with the details for us. So we have the import that we could copy and paste. And we also have the font family text that we could reference. So that's a nice, easy way to build that out. Onto our container. This is a little bit of review from the other videos that we have, and we're basically going to repeat a few things here. And we just want to make this render on our screen, and we're going to put it in the middle. So we'll center this. We're going to make it a little bit of a smaller window, so we'll do a 600 pixel width on that. Now, Lacey, notice how that's off center for us right now?
Yeah, why is that?
Yeah, it's actually an illusion. It is centered based on that H1 that we have, our grapes are good. Do you see that?
Yep.
Now the image itself is just too large, so the image is pushing off to the side, and we'll handle that later with some other CSS. In fact, what we'll do here is kind of dress up our page a little bit with some shadowing, and then you'll sort of see how this is going to be centered on our page here. So we're going to do a box shadow. And we'll bring this in, and the box shadow basically deals with how much of a shadow do you want to have and where, so you can see that sort of start popping in.
Okay.
And then we'll deal with the colors that we have for that as well. So we'll put those in, and you can go out in Google Box Shadow Generator and you can pull some CSS for these as well. So this is not something that you'd have to memorize as far as your code goes. But now you can see that it's centered there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So obviously it shows that that image is popping off the page a little bit there, but we'll deal with that later.
This is starting to come together well. Let's use some Flexbox to center the main heading, which is the H1 element.
So we'll grab that from going into the container and then the H1. And we'll justify content on that to be in the center. Put some padding in there if we want to make it sort of pop down from the top a little bit. And let's go ahead and that font import that we added, let's go ahead and add that.
That looks good.
And we'll do a sans serif font there as backup. So that is just if your browser cannot render Lato, then you'll at least have a font there so that it's not blank.
Okay.
And this image has been bothering us for a while now, so let's go ahead into our main element and then the image, the IMG element, and let's go ahead and resize this a little bit.
That's much better.
Right, it doesn't need to be dominating our page. It just needs to be a little feature that's there. And again, our border radius, which we've worked with in the past. And we'll bring our text in there.
Okay, and now for the main reason we're here, we're going to use CSS Shapes to get our text around the image.
Right, and this is a feature that's very simple to implement, but a lot of folks don't know about it. So they're happy with leaving their text sort of lined up in boxy, but you may not always want that on a page. So I think about magazines or newspapers where the text sort of goes around the image. And we'll kind of just finish up a few things here on the image so that we can put that text around there. Some margins for spacing, a little bit more shadowing just to make that pop. And now we can handle what Lacey had suggested.
Yeah, let's use the ellipsis for this image.
And it does the work for us there. Notice how it goes right around that image.
That page looks good.
So there's lots of other options for that. So if we take that away again, there you go. You can see it goes back to that sort of boxy format. There's some other options for your CSS shapes. You could Google those and take a look at what would make sense for your image. So for the image that we're using and the way we've styled that image, that was the best option. So let's just put some final touches on this, just a little bit of padding there and some spacing. And we can bring our font family in here again. And we have a nice, simple, fun little feature that we've dressed up nicely.
It looks good.
So we threw a couple of tricks at you there, some CSS shapes, a little bit with some Google font imports, a little bit of styling with the box shadow, and last but not least, we kind of just pushed that footer over a little bit so it wasn't up on the corner. If you're not happy with the background being all white, we could do a linear gradient here if we wanted, and that comes in as a background image. We're gonna go from like a white to a little bit slighter gray, and you can play around with different transitions there just to give it a little bit more of a pop.
A little personality.
So there's some fun, easy little features that Lacey and I just discussed with you. You can add these to any page, and they'll just make things jump out a little bit.
Thanks for joining us for another Learn to Code video. As this goes on, you'll be able to kind of go through the code that we wrote and compare it to what you did on your own, and hopefully you'll join us again.
If you're interested in learning more about We Can Code It or how to be a full stack software developer, please visit our website at www.wecancodeit.org. Email us at admissions@wecancodeit.org or visit some of the links in our description. Thank you so much.